Guns don't kill, violent people kill. Any NRA members here? Dude, are you an NRA member, bro? Is he? Dude, you got it? Guns don't kill, violent people kill, right? People kill, violent people kill. Got it? That's given. Christianity doesn't kill, violent people kill. Islam doesn't kill, violent people kill. Like the thing, it's the same thing, right? It's got it. Why is it a little bit harder to do that with Islam? Well, because we're here, right? We're here. But I'm going to tell you something. Listen, when I am in Muslim countries, I am less likely, it might just be the people I hang out with, okay? But I do hang out with lots of people, and you can imagine that I talk to people at all levels of society, whether they're taxi drivers or shopkeepers or whatever it is. But this idea that Christianity doesn't kill, violent people kill, Islam doesn't kill, violent people, this idea that Islam is not the problem. In the United States, I hear more people ascribing violence to Islam than I hear Muslims ascribing violence to Christianity. Meaning that I hear and experience and have witnessed more tolerance in the Islamic world than I do here. That Americans in particular are much more, and I'm going to say much more judgmental and quick to point fingers at entire groups of people. And I'm just telling you that, maybe I'm just selectively seeing things, but I think I'm a pretty objective judge of these kinds of things because I really, really try to be objective. So it's no wonder 90% of news stories about Christianity, about spirituality, about Jesus, about worshiping, about really lovely things, and 58% of news stories about Islam are about militancy and violence of Muslims, and 8% of the stories are about fundamentalists. So it's like you hear one thing. So of course you're going to be afraid. And part of being educated is learning to crack through the fear. And really learning to not follow what other people tell us. Man, this is what it is, my God. Okay, so here, one final thing. And I'll let it go. So I think I put this quote up the other day, this Franklin Graham guy, who's saying, maybe I didn't, the world is attacking Christians. So I hear this a lot. It's like a Christian trope or something, that the world hates Christians, the world's attacking Christians, and they're trying to kill us. And he was saying this thing about, Trump defending Christians because Christianity and Christians are under attack. In a few short years, that's the dominant narrative. And then look where we've come. In another dominant narrative. Those who hate Muslims in the United States, our fellow Americans, those who hate our fellow Americans, don't represent the best of America. They represent the worst of humankind. That's 5 days after 9/11. As opposed to, it's a cancer. Needs to be eradicated. Muslims here to kill us. You see, that's not the narrative of the United States. That's not the best of the United States that I know. The best of the United States that I know, that I grew up with, is the United States, in this case, of tolerance, understanding, and embracing. So it takes a while. Right? Like we're working on it. We've come a long way. In the world of race relations, we've come along. We have ways to go. In the LGBTQ community, we've come a long way. We have a ways to go. And here, we've actually, in some ways, going backwards. It's like, I don't know, man. I think it's just one of these things. What I'm trying to do in this class is like, I don't want you to go out and embrace Islam. What I want you to do is understand where the fear and the hate comes from that we see innocent around us. It's being put in there, especially when we don't know. Especially when we don't know. Does anyone want to say anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, like, I basically agree with everything you're saying about the whole, like, America not being about, like, what the Republicans say it is today and how that, like, that's basically changed and everything. Because I was pretty young when, like, 9/11 happened and everything. I think I was around, like, 5 years old. And I remember, like, even though there was a lot of bad things to say about Bush as he was president and everything, at least, like, he went out there to say that, like, Islam wasn't a bad religion or anything, or that they weren't out to like try and kill like Christians in the United States. And another thing I wanted to like point out is the thing you were talking about between the different Christian factions like around the world who do bad things. Same thing with the Muslims, of course. Like I come from a Muslim family, but like I've always agreed that like though that small part of like Muslims that do those bad things, of course, are bad. But it's the same thing with Christians. And I've heard, like, being here for, like, the short time that I've been here, like, for university and everything, and, like, I hear some Christians talking about how Christianity could never do, if you're a Christian, there's nothing possible that you could do wrong because you're a Christian. And it's like, I feel either they don't know much about the history of Christianity itself, and the same thing with Islam, there's also a bunch of hate and violence in the history of Islam as well. But like one nice quote I like to use to like describe all of that is like when people talk about terrorists when it comes to the Islamic faith, it's like trying to say that it's like that doesn't represent the whole Islamic faith because like if you want to look at it that way, it's like you're representing all of America by like all the like white supremacists and everything that are there.
Sure.
Or basically like those are the rednecks of the Middle East.
Sure.
Is what we basically call them.
Right.
Like,
or you have to accept these guys as Christians.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to accept that they're Christians. If you want to claim that the Muslims committing the terrorist acts are Muslims, if you want to make that statement, then you have to accept that these guys are Christians. And when they slit somebody's throat because they're a Muslim, they're no different than the Muslim slitting someone's throat because they're a Christian or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I remember right after like 9/11 happened, the first thing my dad would say was like, "Those aren't Muslims."
Yeah,
and
dude,
like,
everybody says that. I mean,
yeah.
you know, you just don't. Everyone, man. God, it's just don't. Yeah, it's striking. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Puerto Rico, but I'm like ethnically Palestinian.
Oh, right. Okay, that's right. You were up here.